What if I told you that the secrets of today's billionaires were actually written down over 140 years ago? Well, today we're diving into exactly that. We're exploring the timeless wisdom of the art of money getting by the legendary showman himself, P.T. Barnum. Now, long before the circuses, he was an absolute master of the psychology of wealth, and he laid out a blueprint that, you'll see, is just as powerful today as it was way back in 1880. So here's the game plan. Barnum's blueprint is basically a 6-step journey. We're going to start with finding your foundation, then move on to plugging financial leaks. After that, we'll talk about focusing like a magnifier, mastering the showman strategy, building on trust, and finally, understanding money's real purpose. Let's walk through it.
All right, first up, finding your foundation. Barnum believes that the entire story of wealth begins in a place most of us just completely overlook, our own nature. He said the biggest mistake you can possibly make is choosing the wrong line of work, because real success, it demands a level of energy that you just can't fake. And he makes this really crucial distinction here. Think about it. A job you just endure, it drains you. You're watching the clock, and it ultimately leads to defeat. But a true vocation, something that really clicks with your natural talents, that creates this unstoppable enthusiasm. When you love what you're doing, you start obsessing over the little details that everyone else misses. And according to Barnum, that's exactly where the money is hiding, in the details that lead to mastery. But here's the catch. Passion isn't enough. Barnum asks this absolutely brilliant question to get us thinking about location. You could be a certified genius, right? But if you're in a place that doesn't need or want what you're offering, you're going to starve. So the first real art of getting money is aligning your natural talent with a location that is just hungry for it. Okay, next up, plugging the financial leaks. So once you're earning, this subtle but incredibly deadly danger shows up. Barnum called it the silent enemy, and he believed it's the main reason that so many hardworking people end up totally broke. That enemy? It's debt. You see, debt isn't just a financial oopsie. Barnum saw it as a kind of modern-day slavery. I mean, think about that quote. It works against you 24/7. It never takes a holiday. It never gets sick. It's this ghost that's always haunting you, and it kills the very enthusiasm that you need to succeed in the first place. So, the point here is incredibly simple, but also really profound. Wealth is built in the gap between what you make and what you spend. And it's usually not the big, obvious costs that get you. It's the small, invisible leaks that can sink a massive ship. Spending even a tiny bit more than you make is a guaranteed one-way ticket to ruin. Plugging those leaks is what keeps your ship afloat and ready for when opportunity comes knocking. All right, step 3 is all about focus. And in our world, which totally worships multitasking, Barnum's advice here feels almost revolutionary. He was convinced that true wealth doesn't come from doing a million things at once, but from harnessing the incredible power of a singular, obsessive focus. He used this powerful analogy of a magnifying glass. If you just wave it around, scatter the light, nothing happens. It's just a piece of glass. But if you hold it perfectly still, focusing all that sunlight on one single point, you start a fire. Most people fail because they scatter their energy, being a jack of all trades. Barnum's advice? Choose one thing and just hammer away at it relentlessly. He believed that's the only way to forge the life you actually desire. Now we're going to step out onto the public stage with step 4, master the showman strategy. Barnum knew that in a noisy world, the absolute greatest sin a business can commit is being invisible. Let's be real. Even if you have the most brilliant invention in history, it is worth absolutely zero if it stays a secret. I mean, how perfect is that quote? The meaning is so direct. If you want to get rich, you have to find the courage to tell the world who you are and what you have to offer. To earn the public's money, you first have to earn their attention. You just can't be afraid of the spotlight. But, and this is a huge but, his strategy was a very careful 2-step. First, you need the hook. You have to use bold, interesting, newsworthy ideas to get people in the door. But once they're in that room, you must deliver real value. Barnum was absolutely adamant that honesty is the best policy. Why? Because while a great story gets their attention, only real quality makes them stay. As he said, a tricked customer never, ever returns. And that leads us perfectly into principle number 5, build on trust. While Barnum was famous as a showman, his core philosophy was crystal clear. You might be able to fool someone once, but a real, lasting empire can only be built on a foundation of absolute integrity. To Barnum, these were completely non-negotiable. He saw honesty not just as some moral choice, but as a financial asset, one that pays interest forever. He insisted on using the best tools and hiring the best people, because you can't get first-class results with second-class stuff. And he believed that simple politeness was one of the cheapest and most powerful investments you could ever make.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound part of Barnum's philosophy: understand money's true purpose. This is about what happens after you've already won the game. I mean, what is all this hard work actually for? After all that striving, all the focus, all the showmanship, the ultimate truth really comes down to this: money was never the point. It's a powerful and necessary tool, don't get me wrong, but it's only a tool. The real question is, what are you going to build with it? For Barnum, the answer was charity. He argued that the more you give back to the world, the more the world opens up to you. He saw generosity not as an expense on a balance sheet, but as an investment in the human spirit. And this is the true art of money getting: using your success to build a legacy to help pull someone else up the mountain with you. So Barnum's timeless wisdom really leaves us with this final critical question. The principles are pretty clear. Find your calling, be disciplined, make sure you're seen, and be trusted. But ultimately, you are the architect of your own life's work. So the real question is, what is it for?